Hello, everybody, and welcome to Letterboxd Book Club. I'm Mackenzie,
And my name is Claire.
and today we are discussing Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Gerber. Gerber.
Gerbil.
Gerbil.
It'll forever be that joke.
Yes. Shall I kick us off with the blurb?
Please do.
All right. How far would you go for happily ever after? For as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in true love and happy endings until she learns that the love of her life will marry another. Desperate to stop the wedding and to heal her wounded heart, Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses, to be given at the time and place of his choosing. But after Evangeline's first promised kiss, she learns that bargaining with an immortal is a dangerous game, and that the Prince of Hearts wants far more from her than she'd pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. Thoughts, feelings, emotions.
Alright, wow, you gotta get in there. Alrighty, thoughts, feelings, and emotions. I enjoyed this book. This book reminded me very much of The Cruel Prince in terms of like pacing and sense of adventure, except it was very much more, fairy tale-esque, magical, whimsical vibes. It definitely took a turn that I wasn't expecting. Yeah, I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed, again, just the adventure of it all. I do have like one giant qualm, but that's just me.
I have qualms. Well.
I enjoyed the little cliffhanger. I enjoyed the twists and turns, the plot twists and everything in between. A little bit confused in the beginning, but I am so keen to see how this is resolved. What about you, Kenzie? Thoughts, feelings, and emotions?
I really enjoyed this book. I give it 5 stars, even though I have qualms, but I liked it. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited that it's a trilogy. I have theories.
Ooh.
I have thoughts. It felt, at the start, I kind of struggled to get into it.
Yeah.
And then also just like interruptions in life made me struggle to like pick it back up again.
Right, yeah.
But then once I got into kind of the meat of it and then the end, I was really enthralled and enraptured by it. It felt a little like janky at the start.
Yeah.
And it felt like it didn't know kind of like what plot it was starting. Like I felt like there were different threads of things that it could go, of stories it could go down. And I was just waiting for it to pick which little thread it was going to go down.
For sure.
And then at the end though, I felt like it ended so abruptly. I had to reread the last couple of pages a couple of times because is my book missing some pages or something? I was like, what's going on? But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm excited.
Yeah, normally in another book scenario, like you would end the book with the completion of whatever goal, because that's normally in these sorts of like fantasy young adult trilogies or series is like there's always like a goal and then it gets resolved and then you move on to the next issue or conflict in the second book. But yeah, it was really refreshing. It's refreshing and surprising that we didn't get the Valori Arch sort of conclusion yet, and that's where I thought that where it was going to stop. But obviously that's the next step forward, which is great because like I hate this. Yeah. Like it's nice to have an overarching plotline that can take a book or two to resolve. Instead of, resolve it this book, and then we find new issues in the next book, resolve it, new issues in third book, resolve it.
Yeah, I was going to say that I don't really enjoy books that do that, where each kind of book is a different story. It's like, well, what's the point? So I'm glad. It's interesting that you say, however you said that, because I just say Valerie.
Yeah, Valerie or Valori. Because, like, you think of Valor.
Yeah.
Valerie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I suppose...
But I also have the audiobook.
Oh,
so.
Really? Well, the audiobook, as we know, historically, is wrong.
Yeah, always.
Always wrong. No. All right, shall we kick off with some qualms? What's your qualms?
Yes. Hang on. First of all, I just have one nostril that's insistent on running constantly, so I'm just gonna... I don't think you'll be able to see it,
okay.
But I have a snot blocker.
That's okay. Snot blocker. I'm getting there as well, don't worry.
It's just one. It's so annoying. My qualms are that, it felt really janky in the start. So there's Evangeline, and her father is dead. She's lost the love of her life because he's marrying her stepsister. Her stepmother's a bitch. I thought it was going to go down maybe like a mystery behind her father's death.
Ooh.
And then the shop, and then because the shop, the stepmother sold the shop while Evangeline was a stone statue for 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. I thought that was going to be part of it. I didn't think Jax would end up being as integral to the plot. I thought he was going to be a minor character, but then he became a really big player, and I liked that. And I feel like, though, the setup for his story is too early because obviously Evangeline is the one girl that his kiss isn't going to kill.
Absolutely, yes. Wholeheartedly agree. My biggest qualm is just Evangeline's naivety, even in the first half, towards her dealings with Jax, because, even in the inner monologuing, in the beginning, in the introduction, never bargain with the fates because, they're going to weasel their way into making you do something you don't want to do and all that type of stuff. They're like slippery fae folk, except they're divinities, deities. And so all that time, as a reader, we learn that information. Then she makes this deal really abruptly with Jax, due to her broken heart because of Luke and Marisol, blah, blah, blah. And then she still is, trying to weasel her way out of it, even though, you made the deal, you made the conscious effort to go there, you prayed, you did everything you need to do to essentially summon him, even though he was already there. And, you still have that boldness to be like, all right, I want to take back on my deal. And so it was just a little bit annoying in that regard. And, sure, she was very intense in wanting reasons as to why Jax wants her to specifically kiss 3 people, blah blah blah, but at the end of the day she doesn't have to know what the fate, why he does things the way he does it. He just wants this deal to be done.
Exactly, you made the deal, you have the consequences.
Exactly,
you have to do what he wants you to, because he stopped the wedding.
He did. He upheld his half. And it's just the constant questioning where it's it's none of her business as to why he wants her to do this. It's just uphold your end of the bargain, that's all. You had one job.
Yeah, I felt this plot line became so convoluted as well because, at the end it's revealed, I told Poison to tell the Empress to send you to Nocte Neverending in, the North, the magical North or whatever. And I felt like it could have just been Jax saying to her, you have to go. I've organised for you to go. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, yeah.
It didn't have to be this kind of Chinese whispers situation. And then I'm just going to go right to the end because it's part of my qualm.
That's fine.
So when Evangeline clues on to, it was Jax who poisoned Apollo so that she would have to give Jax her blood willingly. I don't think that's the true story because if I was Jax, I would have just said, I'm not going to end Apollo's curse until you give me your blood. I feel like it's just such a long way and too many paths of everything.
And again, I guess we still have 2 more books to read to understand Jax's overarching plan and how everything sort of came to be. Because I initially thought, because she somehow tricked Jax into drinking the poison and thus being turned into stone, or to take the place of the wedding party, I thought then moving forward this was all just a convoluted plan of Jax in order to just get her to uphold his bargain. I didn't even think that the Valerie archers really had much to do with it until obviously that adventure overtook everything else.
Well, I knew something was going on when every time she steps through an arch she hears something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They talk to her and no one else was seeming to react to her.
Yeah, and she was brought up on this idea of magic and fairy tales.
Yeah. And again, that just naivety of her, she's hearing something and then she looks at Jax and he doesn't appear to be hearing anything and she's like, maybe they just say different things to different people. And yeah, again, you've grown up on these fairy tales. You've grown up with these stories. If something weird is happening, I feel like you should mention it to the magic man.
Or maybe she just because she doesn't trust the magic man, and the magic man is a manipulative piece of shit.
I would trust the attractive magic man.
All right, of course you would.
To a fault. To a fault, I would trust him.
To a fault, yeah. But yeah, you'd think she'd be a lot more wiser in all her interactions with the magic and these weird things that are happening to her. So yeah, what got me a little bit confused and cooked in the beginning was because when she turned to stone, either within that week or the week after, or even maybe even the week before, they had this whole week of terror situation, which is deities or the fates fucking trying to overrun the empire. Like, that's a pretty big deal to just brush over. And so I got confused whether or not that was a real event, or again, if that was just an illusioned event conjured by Jax in order to get Evangeline in a place where she can move forward from trying to save Luke and then open her life pathways up to be able to be open to have these kisses with other people, again, to secure that debt.
Yeah. I think it was real because...
Well, it was real.
Obviously, like, other people were talking about it and stuff,
See, but then I thought everything in the world was just one big mask of Jack's plan or ploy. And I was like, what is going on here? From what we learn of Jax, he is pretty powerful to will people and manipulate their emotions, but it obviously got to a point where he's obviously can't control an entire society or an entire kingdom.
Yeah. Well, he can't control more than 3 people.
Yeah, at least, yeah. And also what kind of got me a little bit cooked about this world is that despite there being an air of magic, even in Valandra, there still seems to be a high level of, like, skepticism, and we see that through Marisol, where she's, like, timid and scared of magic and oddities sort of things. And even that Evangeline's father had, like, an oddity shop that hugely implies, like, magical enchanted items, etc., etc. So it was very weird in that mixture of magic being real and people not believing in it or being super afraid of it or seeing it as something that doesn't actually work, especially with, like, spells again.
Yeah, and how the history of the North, the Mighty North, whatever it is, like, are all kind of like fairy tales in Valandra.
And they're cursed fairy tales, like...
Yeah, but it's all true in the North, like...
Yeah, and, like, the misfortunes of folks in Valandra are then obviously seen, they believe to be cursed themselves, not in, like, a literal magic curse, but just in an unlucky sense. So yeah, it's just the fine line between magic and, I suppose, the luck of life and the skepticism surrounding that is kind of what got me, because then, you get to the magnificent North and it's just full of magic items, artifacts, spells, magical people, fates, etc., etc. So it's like, I was just confused with the world. Like, are we entirely magical, or is it just, like, hidden away in some places? But then obviously once we get to the magnificent North and everything kicks off, everything just seems fine and fluent. It's just getting there that was a bit janky. Janky is the best word to describe it.
I found the first, because it's 3 parts. I found the first part, quite, like, stagnant. Like, it just wasn't flowing. And then all this stuff about Luke as well. There's lots of plot points going on.
Yeah, we've got the Luke love, we've got the Marisol, love spelling him, we've got the Archers, we've got Jack's deal, we've got everything going on.
The king was killed, so now we've got a new, like, empress.
Everything is going on, like, too much. And then we learn of, Jack's infatuation at a time with Princess Donatella and the repercussions of that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so much going on. And then, we just started focusing on the adventure of the Valerie Archers. So, how do we feel about this deal? Because, Evangeline went to the Church of the Prince of Hearts. Prince of Hearts is a fate. Fates are also represented through a deck of cards, like a fortune teller deck of cards. I forget what they're called, but it's really cool. And it's a cool idea that even fates were trapped inside it to begin with. Because imagine, being trapped in something that represents you. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
And then they were released in the Week of Terror.
Yeah, for sure. But then, the fates as beings are fated themselves for a task or a goal or a goal that's not to be achieved. So, for example, Jax is fated to find his true love, but every girl he kisses who is not his true love will die. And then another example is this character that we meet along the way, Lala. She's a fate.
I love Lala.
Dude, she's so... Just the name gets me. Like, it just doesn't... It reminds me of Teletubbies. That's all I thought about. So Lala is an unwed bride, and that's her fate. She will always yearn for the love of people, but she will never be married, etc. And she cries poisonous tears. That's a whole thing in itself. Very important to the plot. We know this. So Evangeline comes to Jax with her broken heart and a plea. She wants Luke's wedding to be halted because she's been blindsided by his marriage to Marisol. She makes a deal, blah, blah, blah. Jax gets 3 kisses from her, to whom he chooses and at which time or event, and he will stop the wedding. And so he stops the wedding, turns everybody into stone.
So literally.
Evangeline's like, yeah. How did you think he was going to stop the wedding? Do you think, like, I don't know.
I just thought...
Like a weather...
Yeah, like a weather thing or something, maybe. Because then they tried to get married again. During the 6 weeks. And that obviously didn't work either.
Yeah, turning to stone was the best way to go. But also, while Evangeline was negotiating this deal in a way, Jax was really outwardly being like, are you sure you want to do this? Because if Luke truly loved you, he would not follow through with this wedding, which is fair enough. If he wanted to, he would.
Also, I realised was also a subtle way of confirming to her that he was under a spell, because he said that love spells, real love can break through.
Yeah, and if he truly loved Evangeline in the way that Evangeline loves Luke, he would have broken out of the spell ages ago.
Yeah.
So, stupidly, naively, Evangeline takes the deal. She tries to find an out of the deal, straight away, which is annoying because, we have just been set up with this system of what's going to happen and, how the consequences, and then she all of a sudden just gets cold feet. Anyway, she drinks a goblet and she turns herself into stone. And then, obviously, the Week of Terror ensues.
Yeah, that's off screen.
Yeah, over around the Empire, and Jax got stabbed and blah, blah, blah. It's all big fun. And then she is, Evangeline is now waved as, a hero because her sacrifice saved society.
Yeah.
Somehow. her great noble sacrifice. See, this is where I thought it was a bit bizarre because it had to have been, Jax's, as I was thinking, illusionist sort of magic into manipulating everyone's minds and thinking that, she's a savior.
Yeah, I thought that part when it came out, she's a hero and stuff, I was like, what is going on? And then again, it's like she was stuck for 6 weeks. It's like no one helped her, really.
Yeah. And because the point of Jax wanting the kisses is because she was so hell-bent on Luke, and it's almost like Jax is giving her this opportunity to explore other romantic avenues. Because you can't be all set on your first love, especially if he's adamantly trying to marry someone else as well. So, yeah, I feel like he was just trying to open her life up to other romantic experiences, and I see no harm in that.
Exactly.
And also, just the book, the writing, it's very fairy tale-esque and whimsical-esque, because ethically you would think someone forcing you to kiss people that you don't necessarily want to kiss, some would say that's very unethical and non-consensual in some way, but because this is such a strong fairy tale theme, fairy tale mindset, happily ever afters, princes, princesses, magic, etc., I was okay with the way this was going. Mm-hmm. And there's also a game called, Kiss Chess as well, and I'm like, that's fine.
Yes, very cool. I enjoyed the Apollo Evangeline story, Apollo's. Jax puts his blood on Evangeline's lips, tells her to kiss Apollo, and then Apollo falls madly, deeply, truly in love with her. I liked that storyline. I thought that was really cool. But I was so sus on Apollo for ages.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And so amongst Evangeline's heroism of being, the hero of the Week of Terror, blah, 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 she's invited to the north. Well, from the Empress, they pass down their invite to her to become Apollo's bride. Apollo is a prince in the Magnificent North. And, so Jax immediately at the party was like, you gotta kiss Apollo, which is weird on, a first date, though. Yeah. Or a first meeting. Yeah. And it was a really intense first make-out as well, which was interesting. And then, Apollo becomes madly infatuated with Evangeline to the point where the next night of the Nocturne never-ending ball, he asks her to marry him. I liked in between scenes, there's the newspaper articles. The scandal sheets and the rumours and everything. It's just recovers everything and just gives you other sort of information and backstories of other characters in the world too. I thought it was pretty cool. It broke everything up quite nicely.
It was a good, transitional period without actually saying, and then the next day I did this.
Yeah, transition is the perfect word for it, Kenzie. Because, then you get, a paper for the next day's article, and that will just highlight
you get the rumour
what's
pages.
About to happen. And the rumours, yes. I found it quite funny that there were bets on which princess or which lady in wait equivalent Apollo would choose, blah, blah, blah. It was great. Jax is recognized as a lord in the Magnificent North. And here's my thing as well. Do these people not... These people obviously don't know that, like, people like Jax and Lala are fates. They're just, like, nobility, borderline royalty to a degree. And they just kind of fit in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I just remembered Jax pretty much has two distinct looks. He's got the blue-black hair, and then he's got the blonde hair.
I didn't catch on to the blonde hair for ages, and then at the end, like when he is becoming a vampire and he has blonde hair, I was like, hold up a minute, what have I missed?
Because his power is weakening and he can't uphold his
glamour.
other form. His glamour, yes. Oh, and while the ball is happening, there are rumours piling about that Lord Jax is suffering from a broken heart, which makes sense because he's a fate who's fated to have a broken heart. So that's a whole thing. So she kisses Apollo. First kiss secured. 1 down, 3 to go. How easy is this?
Yeah.
Fulfilling a debt. Fulfilling a deal.
I'd be happy if I got to kiss a prince.
And then have him, you know, very
him
infatuately and passionately in love with you. Yeah. I was getting really worried towards the wedding day, to be honest, because I thought they were going to have to bang.
Yeah.
But obviously, consummate is the more appropriate word. Before kissing Apollo, Evangeline was so apprehensive and scared and anxious that she was going to kill Apollo because, of course, as we know about Jax, his kiss is deadly. Yeah. She thinks that, and because his blood was painted on Evangeline's lips, she's scared that she was going to kill Apollo through Jax's power. Yeah. Obviously, it wasn't the case. So yeah, kiss 1 secured. We learn of Apollo having a brother, Tiberius. They're beefing, having a brotherly tense moments. It's a fun time. We learn more about that later. Second kiss adventure, we meet the matriarch of House Fortuna. I think what got me about this book as well is a lot of it is very much Jack led, because Evangeline never truly did anything on her own accord. Of course, we learned at the end that Jax wanted her to go to this never-ending thing, or to end up at the Magnificent North. Yeah. But then even when we were learning, or about to learn about the Archers and the Grey Tar storyline, everything is led through Jax. And I don't know, it just didn't feel like Evangeline had much like autonomy in what she wanted to do in this world. And it's just...
There's the prophecy of she'll be
crowned
in rose gold, a princess and a poor, peasant. Blood must be willingly given by her. And Evangeline, of course, because she's special and unique and different, she has rose gold hair. So that's the crown. Yeah.
She's the chosen one. Chosen one complex.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that when she walked through Jax's door, because he's like, how did you get the door to the church open or whatever? And she's like, I asked it nicely, because assuming that she has magic blood. I reckon Jax was like, you've just fallen right into my lap. And I think he would have done whatever she said because he knew who she was. So no matter what she asked for, it would have always ended up in his favour anyway.
See, alright, I have this theory that I don't know, this is like a loop situation for Jax.
Oh, yeah.
It's so far out there, it probably does not make sense. But not impossible, because it's a world of magic, and who knows, there could be a go back in time and fix it sort of situation, or go back in time and take the correct path situation. Because perhaps there was a timeline where she chose Luke, and it obviously, I don't know, well destroyed or something. I don't know, because the fates are very powerful.
Yeah.
Anyway, see, what led me to the whole Jax leading Evangeline through the plot is because when we visited the matriarch of House Fortuna, I just thought it was just weird. I feel like we had no real reason to be there, other than Jax had a reason to be there. Yeah. And so anyway, and it turns out these kisses don't have to be, not all these kisses have to be romantic in any sense, because she just kisses the matriarch on the cheek, and suddenly the matriarch is not in love with Evangeline, but she is very respectful and kind and grandmotherly, I think was a good description.
You could say she's enamoured by her.
Enamoured, yes. You're out of the park with all these perfect words today, Kenzie. What is going on? Is it the Wordle and the connections? You connected, right?
I know, because I got all 4 today.
Such a smarty pants. Yeah, if you want to talk about this encounter.
I mean, I wasn't going to, but... Anyway, so they just go and see the Fortuna matriarch. because she has an arch and she has some stones that Jax wants. We never really find out what the stones are because Jax has to like concuss her because the magic starts to wear off. But yeah, I feel like that adventure kind of led nowhere.
Oh, it just made us realize that.
Oh, we got the prophecy.
Yeah, there's a whole poem about, or a chant that what is it, like poverty turned to princess something.
No, she'll be a peasant and a princess.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. And then her blood willingly, blah blah blah. Also, because Jax was asking about stones real quick, I noticed towards the end the stones on his hilt of his dagger were missing.
Yeah, we're missing, yeah.
Is that a thing of his power? Thinking, yeah. Is there a certain time limit is running out to convince Evangeline to...
Maybe.
Or is it like...
Or I'm thinking that that's part of it, like they're just fake ones and he needs the real ones.
Ooh, okay. Because Evangeline, for some reason, keeps it. And obviously, Evangeline and Jax are the lovers. Yeah, we get it. So maybe this is all... It has to be like a little time loop situation.
And there was... Yeah, I think she has to stab him in the heart.
Oh, yeah, probably.
To break his curse or whatever on him.
Very Tamlin.
Yeah, a la Tamlin.
But his heart was stone.
Mm. Oh, yeah, when they went to see Chaos, the vampire...
yeah.
And... they run into Luke. I was like, of course fucking Luke is here. Yeah. Anyway, and Evangeline's like, I have to help him, I have to save him, blah, 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 blah. And he's a vampire.
He's my first love.
Yeah, and then he bites Jax and nearly turns Jax into a vampire. Anyway, when Chaos and Jax are like talking or whatever about Evangeline, and Jax is like, well, she doesn't even like me. And Chaos is like, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's a vampire. He has heightened senses. He can smell the love.
He can smell or hear the heartbeats or something.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember, is Jax meant to have a heartbeat or is it meant to be like really slow?
I think it's meant to be slow because then at one point Evangeline hears it like beating fast.
Oh, yeah, she feels it or something.
Yeah. And she's shocked that she can feel it.
Yeah. I don't mind Chaos. I liked him as a character because we see him, or we didn't know it at the time, but he would run into Evangeline in places at the ball and also at a bookshop or an oddity type shop.
Yeah.
And they have like their interactions. And being a vampire, you can't look them in the eye, otherwise they have this allure to bite you. And obviously a bite can either just for feeding or turn them into a vampire. But Chaos has this fun little enchanted helmet that prevents that allure from him biting people. So that was a fun thing. You can still
get like trapped in his thrall, but he can't bite.
And he pretty much runs the assassins and the spies. He's like the master / prince / fate of those beings, which is fun. We learned early on that Luke was mauled by a wolf, and apparently he believed that the scars can be cured by the vampire venom.
Because his scars weren't sexy enough for Marisol. When he was like, they weren't sexy scars, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like that's so funny and so goofy to think about.
Yeah.
And to think Agnes, the stepmother, was so hard on Marisol for her looks. Like, come on. But I liked that sort of the repurpose of Luke in a way as well. Because then it's also revealed completely again that Marisol did in fact love spell Luke because she was jealous of Evangeline, and so that's fun. Yes, Jack and Evangeline have their interactions with the vampires. Jack gets bit because Evangeline lets Luke out because she's guilty. What did I say?
Just Jack. It's plural, Jacks.
Okay. Jacks. I'm sorry. Because Evangeline feels guilty about what's happened to Luke because she's framing this, she's putting this all on the deal that she made, which ultimately the deal she made wasn't necessarily her fault. So Jax gets bit. Yeah, he's fighting the vampire venom. He doesn't want to turn into a vampire, though he muses how interesting it would be. There are tense moments. Oh, also just way back with the matriarch, we learned of the history of the Magnificent North with
there was a Valor
family. They were the first magical family, and they controlled these archways that are just portals to different areas and locations. And the Valori archway is rumored to be like a prison, or it's hiding something, or it's harboring magical artifacts, etc., etc. Very powerful things, and therefore, yeah, Evangeline's like, why would Jax want anything to do with this, etc., etc. Skipped straight through to chaos, but that's fine. But obviously before this, we get into it. It's great. No. Evangeline and Apollo have their wedding day. It's fun. Although Jax made a deal with Evangeline, and even amongst this deal, or the initial bargain, like, yeah, Evangeline able to steal weasel deals out of Jax. Has she not learnt her lesson?
Yes.
But anyway, this deal was that the next time Evangeline kisses Apollo, his thrall infatuation with her will rub off, because Evangeline is convinced that this is all Jax's magic and he has all the control.
So I guess like their wedding night, and she kisses Apollo, but Apollo's like rubbing oil on him. He's like, "You kept me waiting, wife." Blah blah blah.
Wait for the consummation time.
They're gonna bang, and then she kisses him, and he's like, "Why have you hurt me, Evangeline? Like it feels like you stabbed me in the heart." And then he dies.
Yeah, so we think.
And you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, crazy thing is happening, and so yes, Evangeline is accused of murdering, or I suppose is found guilty by default. Oh yeah. So he dies, and she's like crying hysterically, but also
uncontrollably.
Yeah, and she's constantly crying, and then Jax comes to her and realizes that she's crying poisonous tears, and he also reveals that his magic wasn't controlling Apollo in any sort of way, and then that's when they go to Lala's for the antidote, and this is where we learn that Lala, the fate with the tears, the unwed bride. Yeah. Sorry, all these titles of people like the cursed bride, unwed bride, like they're all so similar.
Yeah, Lala's the unwed bride.
And it turns out that Lala, once upon a time, on the side, did sell her tears because they are poisonous. I love an underground black market of magical, liquids.
Yeah.
magical bodily functions.
Body fluids, yeah.
And so this is where we are led to the chaos adventure, and now we are back to the vampires. Just to keep everything consistent, Evangeline and Jax are having almost like a little tussle, because Jax is fighting the vampire venom, and Evangeline's trying so hard to snap him out of it, but then she's like, "You need me to open the Valerie arches," and that's when he's like, light bulb moment, "You are correct, I can't kill you in any sort of way." And then this is where we see Jax pretty much for the rest of the book kind of doped out, because he's exhausted, he's fought the venom, he's like overexerted his magic, he is like empty. The tank is...
He needs to have a restoration sleep.
Exactly. Yeah. Alright, I feel like I've talked too much. Take it from here, Kenzie.
So, also all this time, Evangeline is wanted for the murder of Apollo, and it's believed she's in cahoots with Jax as well. And then in the rumour pages, it comes out that Marisol is going to marry Tiberius.
Mm-hmm.
And Evangeline is like, what the fuck? And then it realises that Marisol had something to do with whatever is happening. So Evangeline needs to clear her name, so she goes back to Wolf Hall, the castle, and confronts Marisol. And Marisol says, yes, like I had Luke under a love spell, but I didn't do anything to Apollo, blah, blah, blah. And then, Evangeline also makes a truth serum for Tiberius. And then it's revealed that he said he killed Polo.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gets Tiberius and Marisol banished to the dungeons. And then this is where it got a little bit sussy-wussy again.
Mm-hmm.
So Havelock, a guard, and a young servant girl are leading Evangeline to a visitor, because Jax has come to find her. And then they're like, also they can mind talk, which is always
soulmates.
A sign that they're bonded. Soulmates,
yeah.
And I love he calls her Little Fox.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's this whole overarching story that Evangeline refers back to, like an old fairy tale that a mother told her called The Ballad of the Archer and the Fox. And it's like, what is it? The archer tries to find the fox, but doesn't always kills her or something. I don't know. It's definitely the theme of Jax and Evangeline's inevitable love.
But yeah, so they're leading her away from Jax essentially. And I was like, oh my god, they're going to kill her or something.
Same. Something's wrong.
And they're like, Apollo's alive. Anyway, they lead her down into a secret passage, and Apollo is there, in a suspended state.
Stasis.
And stasis. They're like, he's in, essentially a stasis, and you can wake him up. He's not dead. So I think it's going to be her blood or something that's going to wake him up.
Yeah, because she tried kissing him, because we know the whole fairy tales, true love's kiss would break any spell, wake anybody up, etc. The whole Snow White effect, and that obviously didn't work. I think in that moment, Evangeline also realised that Jax has so much control over the situation because, he needs her to open the archways, and her guilt for Apollo is so great that... Yeah. Even though she is now found innocent, she still feels she wants to help Apollo, make sure he's all right, gets better, etc. So I feel like this is all just going to be a ploy and a tool for her to give her blood willingly.
This is where, she figures out that Apollo is kind of, not Apollo, Jax is kind of behind everything, so that she'll give him her blood. But like I said at the start, I don't think that's the case, because I feel like he could have just said, I'll only end Apollo's thrall if you give me your blood. Like, I think it's too convoluted, all this other stuff, so... And I think that's going to be a big thing in the second book of, like, miscommunication between them. And I'll start the second book today, so I can let you know.
As I was just going to say about the whole blood and giving it willingly thing, because throughout the book there's a lot of moments where Evangeline uses her blood to open doors, and that's obviously a thing in of itself. So I feel like, she doesn't... he doesn't need her blood willingly. Like, she, is magical in a way, and she will do it of her own volition.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And then, that's pretty much the end of the book. Do you have any theories? You said you had theories, or did you explain that just throughout the whole episode?
Just about how I think that they're obviously, like, she's obviously the girl, like, is his one true love, and that she's inherently magical. And then, I don't think Jax was behind it all, really. Because also, Tiberius was like, I killed him. Like, and that was a truth serum, so... Yeah, unless Jax was enthralling him to do it. I don't know. I just feel like it's too much.
Alrighty. What were we up to? The end of the book. Okay, well, in that case, I'll express a pre-apology right now. This may be a little disjointed because my computer's possessed and I'm having issues and I fucking hate it. I'm so close to just getting a new laptop at this point. One like and I'll do it. I'll like it.
Wait for tax time.
Over tax time. There's still like a couple months away.
I know.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, there must be other parties at play into pushing Jax into probably doing this. Because surely there are other fates out there that maybe prevent other fates from fulfilling their destiny and their fate. Because it could lead to probably something greater.
Yeah. Shall we go to the stars that listen? And I'll explain everything and I'll do my stars first so you can catch up. Okay, so the stars that listen is a segment we do at the end of the podcast where we go and find 1-star and 5-star reviews that we find funny, relatable, quirky, and we read them out, and we start with the 1-star so that we end on the 5-star so that we end on a positive note. I have 2 1-stars.
I have one big one.
Okay, so Jax was mid. I much preferred Apollo. Motherfucker's gonna have to shake the fabric of space and time to get me off his dick. And then the next one is no, because what the fuck was that?
Oh, wow. I mean, Apollo does deserve better because he's eventually just like a pawn in this entire facade or whatever the hell is going on in this world. So maybe, hopefully he stays alive. Yeah. Maybe we find out in the next book. Alrighty. My 1-star review. I tried. I honestly gave it my all and tried to like this book, but I just could not get into it. I didn't like the world, the characters, or the story. So much seemed to be happening, yet nothing happened. It was just the weirdest thing. I had such high hopes for this, but honestly, I don't understand why this has such a following. I get the covers are pretty, especially those UK covers, but the books, just no. Sadly, I bought the second book before I read the first, and now I'm just glad I got the first on Libby and never bought the third. Is Libby meant to be like a pirate site?
It's like a library site.
Oh, library site. My apologies. Sorry. 5-star review, Kenzie.
Stephanie Garber is mother.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
God damn. Yeah. Nothing eloquent and succinct.
Sorry.
Alrighty, my 5-star. It's a paragraph. Holy smokes, this wasn't even entirely close to that series of a mess named Caraval. I've heard that there was some comparisons, or Caraval, however you say it. There were comparisons between these two books.
I think it's in the same universe, so I think it's yeah.
Oh, no wonder the author seemed familiar. Anyway, this book feels intricate, very well thought out, and Jax, as always being the star of the show that left the readers reading what his true thoughts or motives actually are, And I kind of really love the heroine's self of righteousness, even though I'd usually be annoyed with it if it wasn't so well written. But Jack and Evangeline's dynamics were so unique and kind of cute that that'd leave you wanting for more. So here we go, book 2. So, any quick theories into leading into book 2? Obviously, we are still learning about the Valerie archers.
I don't think at this stage I've got anything more, but...
What do you think's behind the archers? Do you think it is a prison? Do you think it's harbouring a creature?
I don't know. I
just don't know what to think.
Yeah,
It's a whole other magical world.
Yes. A whole new world.
It's probably the homeland of the Valors.
Yeah.
But apparently they did something to piss off the people of this world, so...
They had too much power.
Who knows what dark secrets that... Yeah, but what does that even mean? Like, the Fates themselves have powerful powers, like...
I don't know, maybe they were just better than the humans, and so the humans were like, go away.
Humans get jealous. They just get their chiming bells that just won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
They get the scones that are always at the right temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it gave me the Cruel Prince sort of young adult feel and adventure, but yeah, a little bit janky in the beginning, but like I'm desperate to see what happens next.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of jealous that you get to kickstart the second book. I'm yet to buy it, but I will in like the next half hour.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, cool. Love this for us. And that concludes this episode of Letterbox Book Club.
Thank you all for listening. You can find us on Instagram, letterbox_book_club. From there, our link tree is in our bio where you'll find us in all the places.
Wonderful. And I suppose next week, shall it be the second book?
Yes.
All right. And I think that's The Ballad of Never After, if I recall. The what?
A ballad of something or other.
Yeah, ballad. I think Never After. That sounds right, but I could be wrong. But yeah, this is just off the fly.
Yeah, The Ballad of Never After.
The Ballad of Never After. All right, catch us next week for that as we continue Evangeline and Jack's journey and this whole Archer's shenanigans. Will Apollo live? I don't know. We shall see. But here's the thing, real quick. Like, if it all ends up being Jack and Evangeline end up together, like, do we really need 3 books?
Yeah. Also, you can't. Also, we've already done the outro. You can't add shit in after the outro.
Watch me. All right, whatever. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.